If there's anything that I love, it's obscure X-Men characters. Really, I like obscure comic book characters. If there's anything I truly love, it's obscure comic book characters. That, and seeing my enemies humiliated in front of me. But today, I don't have any of my enemies to actually humiliate. But I do have a boatload of Marvel Comics, Marvel Legends, X-Men characters. I mean, look at this. Fabian Cortez, X-Factor Cyclops, Age of Apocalypse Gambit, Age of Apocalypse Nightcrawler, the Ultimate Wolverine, Marrow, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 compliant version, and Generation X's Husk. And what do they form? A Build-A-Figure of Nemesis. I can't believe it. And it's also probably one of the last waves I'm going to be able to get before these things become completely and totally unaffordable. Anyway, we're going to open these figures and review them. I'm Dan Umpton, and this is the Doomcast. Okay, this is actually pretty sweet. This is Husk, Paige Guthrie, Cannonball's sister. Both of them first appeared in ROM, the Space Knight #3. I want to say that was Bill Mantlo, and I don't remember if that was Bill Sienkiewicz who did that or not. Anyway, this is a pretty sweet figure. Yeah, not the best in terms of articulation, waist-wise. A lot of the female figures are not, but double-jointed, pinless elbows, double-jointed, pinless legs, double ball neck, and shoulders have a little bit of secondary movement in there, but I don't really know why you need the butterfly. Oh no, that's just the pauldrons. I see. Okay. Still, nice to see other Gen X characters in there. I hope we eventually get all of them, if not more of them. We already have, I want to say, Chamber and, who is the other major one that we have? Monet St. Croix, I think, already. In any case, the figure looks cool only if you really understand what her powers are. She's Cannonball's sister and can tear her own skin off to reveal that she can transform into just about anything that she can imagine, but it's just her skin. It's like Colossus, but if Colossus could turn into like fire or acid or like other stuff, brick, I guess, like any composition, but she has to tear her skin off to do it, which is weird, and it also makes it visually appealing for a comic, because if she could just transform, it would be just a little bit more boring. But anyway, she's got the loose, sort of molded on belt, gauntlets, a lot of good detail, not a lot to the figure, but it does come with 2 pieces of Nemesis. It's a little flaming skull thing, and breathing tube for his helmet, so that's cool. Also, extra boring head right here, and 2 additional pairs of hands. Overall, probably not going to be my favorite figure out of the wave, but I do want to complete that team, so necessary. Fabian Cortez is the next one that we got here. Comes with a couple of hands, little reachy hand, little holdy hand, great. Couple of these doodads, the flame effects for the rocket fist. If you're uppercutting somebody in the taint or something like that, and you want to burn them. Cortez, I guess he always had like weird glowy effects, but those are more like Kirby Crackle type things. His main power is the ability to augment other people's powers, so he can boost them, and by boosting them, eventually make them dependent on him, like a performance-enhancing drug. He was doing that to Magneto for a while. He can also nullify or detract from people's powers, make them work in different ways, which is cool. It's a boost, but it's also like you don't have much yourself. Anyway, fun fact, Chris Claremont named this guy after Fabian Nicieza because Fabian Nicieza, by all accounts, is fine. I don't know much about him, but apparently they butted heads, and so he's like, I'm going to name a supervillain after you, which is cold and kind of cool, and I would sort of be honored by if somebody was beefing with me and they were like, I'm going to create a character whose first name is Dan. Anyway, he's got this shoulder armor that's kind of sick, a funky ponytail and a purple cape, which I do like the purple cape and all, but it does detach, and it was a little hard to get back on. But everything else, man, the paint apps are really good on these, like the eye detail and everything, and the face detail. The paint apps are pretty nice. It really sucks. These are going to be about $35 after the tariffs. That's frickin' nuts to me. All right, this is the Age of Apocalypse Nightcrawler. You get a pair of heads again. Great paint apps on this. I love it. You got a stern face, screamy face. You get a couple of different hands, just one fist, and then another open, reachy hand for Nightcrawler, which is all right. You also get the helmet apparatus and a back, I don't know what those are, carbon control rods, heat rods, whatever, to go in the back of Nemesis, which that would make sense. In any case, nice figure. You've got, double pinless on everything, which is an improvement from some previous Nightcrawlers. But you've still got about the same face and hands and so forth and tail. Only difference is he's in his X-Force uniform, where they nabbed him from the Age of Apocalypse universe, and Remender's Uncanny X-Force brought him back. That was pretty sweet, and I loved that, because I also just generally love Nightcrawler, and I'll take a Nightcrawler figure whenever. Sword doesn't really fit his hand all that well. I like the cutlasses, sabers, sorry, but they're not my favorite sword for Nightcrawler. That's why I purchased different aftermarket giant two-handed Zweihanders for him from Mythic Legions. Those are dope. I mean, really, imagine having somebody just roll up on you and teleport from every angle and keep hitting you with a Zweihander. That's way too sick. I do like me some Nightcrawler, though, a lot. Although, let's see, can you do the pose? We'll see. He's close. I mean, it's still not great, my friend. It will work, though. I like it. I love it. I'm going to miss being able to collect. I keep getting angry about this, but at this point we have no idea how much they're going to actually cost. Gambit from Age of Apocalypse. This one is pretty sweet, but there's some minor beefs that I have. First of all, cape, really well molded. Looks, more like cloth than a lot of other capes than you get with characters, including that Fabian Cortez. Also, the detail work on the molding of this cloth on the side of his arms is really cool. For some reason, though, he comes with two punchy hands. Does not come with any card or effect accessories. Now, I do have others of those, just not with the same color of hand or anything like that. That's kind of annoying, especially since it's a Gambit character, but also they changed the face sculpt. They gave him a much squarer jaw with the, Zoolander face. He is incredibly pouty. What are they doing? But not going to complain too much. The hair sculpt is definitely different, and this was one of the major ones that I was missing from the overall Age of Apocalypse line, which is, that was huge. That was a big event when I was just getting into comics, and I love it. And it also comes with this here Nemesis leg, so that's great. Overall, great figure. Probably one of my favorite out of this wave, next to the Nightcrawler. I'm biased to the Nightcrawler, probably biased to Gambit as well. But, man, like I said, the paint apps for the faces are getting uncanny good. Marrow is a real sick addition to the X-Men. Also prevalently featured in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which is why I think it was especially anticipated. Especially because, low-key, they have been making the Marvel side of the Marvel vs. Capcom figures for a while, including, your Ironheart, this upcoming Maximum Hulk. They haven't done a Venom quite in the same way, but they're cranking them out. You can kind of get that out of Spider-Man, Captain America. They exist anyway. Sick power set because she's able to grow bones and use them as weapons or armor on her body in the X-Men, and as obviously in Marvel vs. Capcom. Still, I will always never not have beef with the fact that there is not much waist articulation with their female body sculpt. But, your standard double pinless, everything, nothing notable in that respect. The backbones are not detachable, but why would you want them to be? That doesn't make sense. The hands don't really hold the bone knife protrusions all that well, or at least the way that you would necessarily want them held, especially in a reverse grip, because that's kind of how she's generally depicted using those. You don't get any smaller bone knife or bone projectiles either, which would be sweet if you did. You also can't really get her in much of a, classic Marrow pose very easily and get her to stand. Comes with a Nemesis arm, little Nemesis 3-fingered hand. I actually didn't realize he only had, or 4 fingers, but whatever. Thumb is a finger. That's right. But didn't realize he had 3 fingers. Also, get a couple of, yuck. Get a flat karate chop hand and a punchy hand. Not a lot of hand variety, unfortunately. All right, so we know how this works, right? Wolverine, super healing factor, adamantium claws. This is the ultimate Wolverine from the ultimate Wolverine from the first Ultimate Universe. Boy, I can't even believe that's a thing. But the Chris Condon Ultimate Wolverine is pretty cool too, except for the fact that Nightcrawler does not exist anymore in that universe. That sucks. I do like the overall sculpt and what they're doing with the claws these days. They look nicer. They look thicker. They aren't as weird, chunky. You don't need to necessarily buy replacements from Can of Beams, but you can. I do like the little tactical belt with a couple pouches up front. Pouches. That was what we were all about in the 90s, baby. And he had several of them. But what does he need the pouches? Are there granola bars inside of here? Like super glue just to keep, wounds sealed until they naturally heal? What does he need the pouches for at all? A phone? Rope? He doesn't carry a gun. What are you keeping in these pouches, actually, Logan? Anyway, you can position the head so you can get the fastball special. The butterfly shoulders are great so that you can do this, or you can do that, or this, or that. I'm Wolverine. I'm just a scar tissue of emotion. I've ignored my mental health for years, and I'm so angry about everything. I can cut all of my problems. It doesn't matter how angry I am inside. My problems don't stand a chance. I have most of my memories back, and it's awful. Anyway, this is Ultimate Wolverine. Yay. Oh! shout out to the team at Hasbro, giving the people what they want. This effect could be a little firmer because you knew we were all going to try and do this after X-Men 97. But this Cyclops is, frankly, pretty sick. I like this a lot. Does he stand like this? Not for long, because the space on this is a little gummy. Clearly not meant for this. I mean, you're meant, I'm sure, to do exactly what I'm about to do here, which is just give him the, like, oh, fuck! Sorry. Probably shouldn't swear. Fun fact, you get one of them per episode. If it's gratuitous, it's a problem. But that's sweet. That's still sweet, right? Look at that. That is what you want. That is funky. I love it. Takes a little support if you wanted to do that any other way. Probably a little difficult to display him, but I will say this. If I can put this guy into another display or another cabinet, I would say I probably will end up doing that. I do like that these have become standard with a lot of Cyclops figures, but they don't tend to get displayed that way from me, although we'll see. Maybe I can fit this into another one. But I do like the X-Factor Cyclops. I missed out on X-Factor Jeans pre-order because they have to make everything a dang Target exclusive these days. I don't think that we're going to see too many more of those because I don't think people are going to be able to afford them. I keep griping about that, but, every single toy manufacturer having to increase prices by about 34% and, getting Nintendo Switch pre-orders kicked back because of this stuff is nonsense, especially since absolutely nobody on either side of the aisle from an economic perspective thinks that tariffs are going to help us. That is my perspective. You can think what you want, but even conservatives traditionally have not been for tariffs either because they didn't work in the 30s and they don't work now. If you want revenue, there's much easier ways to find it. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Do like the fact that he comes with this smug head. I mean, is a very... you get the standard Cyclops, like I'm touching my visor thing. That's great. And a blaster cannon arm for Nemesis. So let's put that Nemesis together, baby. Skeleton in a spacesuit. Hard to argue with that. That's a lot of fun. Everyone loves it. I think everybody likes the idea of a skeleton in a spacesuit, except for astronauts. That's traumatic for them. I do think that this is one of the cooler Build-A-Figures that they've created in a while. I absolutely love it. Lot of detail here, especially on the blaster arm. The flames on the inside of the skeleton head, the skull, those are great. He's very tall. He's a tall boy. He's a tall boy. Shout out to Derek Molds. This is pretty sweet. Good addition to the Age of Apocalypse line, as is, of course, the Gambit. You got to have him. Nemesis, I want to say debuted in Age of Apocalypse and then brought him to the regular 616, made him a regular villain, which is neat and all, but I don't know that they've used him all that effectively since. All right, there we go. A little greater stability. Well, that's the wave. That might be one of the last Build-A-Figure waves they do, because I don't think they're going to be doing... They weren't planning Build-A-Figures before. They were just planning on doing, collector fan channel waves most of the time. And, it was before everything else. I know I keep complaining about this, but it's very frustrating to me because it's going to disrupt a lot of industry. Just realized that Wolverine and Fabian Cortez's triceps are exactly the same, but because he's shorter, they look bigger. That's how muscles work. Anyway, This has been a lot of fun. I really like this Build-A-Figure. One of my favorite Gambits. Another iteration of Nightcrawler. These are all just like alternate but not definitive versions of a lot of good characters, and then a couple of deep cuts that we kind of needed to flesh out teams. But all in all, maybe not the perfect X-Men wave, but it's a darn good one. And a darn good Build-A-Figure. That absolutely rules. The arm cannon. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. This has been the Doomcast this week. Any comments, questions, thoughts, anything you want to add that maybe I forgot, let me know. Thanks. Peace.